We're going to start session 2. We're going to switch and we're going to pivot. We just had a fantastic panel all about supply chain, but we're going to pivot now to give you the introduction of something very, very new in our world. And yesterday, Paul talked about the launch of our OpsChain Contract Manager solution, which is actually the back end to the solution that we're going to talk a little bit about today. I am delighted to be able to introduce you today to our EY Global Renewables leader, Arnaud de Giovannie, and he is going to share with you a little bit about what we're doing in EY, what his vision is, what his idea is in and around power purchasing agreements, and how we believe that there's a better way to manage power purchasing agreements between all of the parties involved. And together with Arnaud today, we also have Akshat Yadav. He's dialing in all the way from Australia. I apologize already for the time of day for you, Akshat, because I really feel for you. I think you win the prize today for dialing in from almost the furthest away, maybe the furthest, but we're so grateful to have you with us. So with no further ado, I think we're going to ask Arnaud to maybe kick us off and walk us through a little bit of what your vision is for renewables in the renewable space.
All right, thanks, Claire. Can you hear me okay?
Certainly.
That's perfect. Very good. So hello, everyone. So this is one of the end users, another one, indeed, as you were saying. I think just maybe a brief introduction. So a corporate PPA power purchase agreement is simply a contract whereby a producer of electricity and an off-taker of electricity sell and buy electricity, and of course, being all about renewables and about sustainability, we're talking about renewables electricity. And for a long time, EY has been providing some services around corporate PPA, which I will start discussing in a second. And we thought that having some blockchain technology would allow us to go one step further. So I'm going to try to operate.
There you go. You can come into your presentation now, Arnaud. We were just, those slides were just telling everyone that they can get CPE credit for this. There's learning points to be had.
That means if they stay until the end, I suspect.
Yes,
so exactly. I hope everyone will. So this is essentially, Claire, as you were saying, this is a very new platform, a very new service that we have been developing. So for years, we have been providing clients with the possibility to structure corporate PPAs. I'm not sure, I don't see the slides anymore now. I'm not sure if it's normal, but so, you know, that's the left-hand side of the page. So we were helping clients structure at the beginning of the corporate PPA. We gathered data, we helped them negotiate, we helped them find the best producer or the best off-taker for their needs. But then we wanted to go one step further, and I have to say it's out of clients' popular demand, where we were almost stopping the interaction around corporate PPA at the time when we had structured it, and our clients usually wanted to have our help in the whole life of the PPA, and this is what blockchain has allowed us to do. So here we said 10 plus years. It's anywhere between 5 and 25 years, essentially, where that technology has allowed us to provide corporate PPA management. And this is absolutely a breakthrough, which I will walk you through a little bit more, and Akshat later will do a demo of what this platform is. So we're talking about a web-based platform, which has a blockchain technology behind it. So it's a good way to have a solution to the challenges that both the producers and the off-takers of electricity encounter in the course of structuring and living through a corporate PPA. So what does this platform allow us to do? It's just echoing what Claire was saying at the beginning. It's so new that it has not yet gone live. It will in the next few months. But so you have, I guess, the primer of what it is. So it allows us to have a robust source of data, because obviously this is part of what blockchain technology allows us to do. And then it will allow us throughout the life of the PPA to manage it from different perspectives. First, it will allow us to manage it from a risk perspective, to do a certain number of actions that are either repetitive or at least frequent or regular, to do those actions almost in an automated manner. It will allow us to track the flows of electricity. Again, the same sort of idea than the robust flow of data. It will also allow us to manage this PPA from a value perspective, calculating fair value or some sort of valuation. We're not talking about accounting. We're talking about valuation. It's different. And also reconciling essentially what is happening in real life. So, the invoicing process, the electricity delivery, with what the contracts and the platform is saying. So this is a platform that essentially allows us to do a number of things, which I have to say very few platforms that are existing in the market are allowing to do. Who would be, primarily the people who we believe and we hope would be interested in this service? So as I said at the beginning, it's relevant to both sides of the trade. So one side is the producer, the other side is the off-takers. And I think, nowadays, everyone needs electricity and everyone is concerned, and I was going to say should be concerned, but everyone is concerned now of having the highest share of green electricity as possible in their electricity mix. And so that's why we believe that this platform and the blockchain technology that sort of underpins it are really relevant to pretty much every sector, every type of client, because everyone needs electricity and everyone needs green electricity. As I said, this is very much the early days or pre the early days of this platform. So we have to do things in steps, and we are releasing this service in a few countries that we believe would be the most relevant, also from a point of view of the maturity of the PPA market. And those countries are the US, Europe, and Australia and New Zealand. So US, Europe, Oceania, where we have seen, and in Europe, it still depends on the countries, but we have seen the highest level of maturity and the highest level of interest for PPAs. To be noted that in some countries outside these three areas, either there's no PPA market, so that platform wouldn't yet be relevant, or the PPA market is in at such an early stage of development that it wouldn't be worth doing it. But of course, this is the first step, and the expectation is that wherever there is a sort of meaningful PPA market, we will roll that out, and this is what this technology is allowing us to do. And then before handing over to Ak for the demo, which I'm sure everyone is eagerly waiting for, a 30-second of self-promotion, quote unquote. But why does it stand out it's not so much that it stands out compared to competition. It's actually that it's pretty much a unique platform doing this on the market. So it allows to have kind of an integrated offering, as I said at the beginning, between structuring and managing the PPA. We have a global platform, although available for now only in the most key markets, but also which is very tailored, and that's very important, very tailored to local regulations, local content, local market characteristics. I think we're trying for the functionality of this platform to be as broad as possible. And I am sure and I am hoping that as soon as we get live, we are going to have clients who are going to ask us for additional features. And I think the technology and the way this platform has been built will allow that. So new technology, new features, and also every kind of type of clients. And then finally, what is very important in a sort of technology-backed item like this one is that we will have support both globally and locally to clients, so that it's really something that becomes a day-to-day tool that our client base will be able to use to improve their electricity trades and move. And sorry, I have to say it, as you said, Claire, I lead our renewables team, move towards a greener world and a greener future, hopefully for all of us. So that's my intro, and now let's deep dive into it. Ak, if you want to take over to go through the technical and the demo.
Thank you, Arnaud, and I'm just gonna take over from you. Let me know when you can see my screen, Claire.
I certainly can. Let me just, well, I can see your screen, your headshot at the moment, so just give it a minute maybe. Let's see.
Yep.
Yeah, there we go.
Cool. So good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you're watching from. My name is Ak, and thanks, Arnaud, for giving quick intro on the platform and the space around PPA. I'm really excited to share what we've built with you. But before I do that, I just wanted to give you background of this journey, the energy transformation where blockchain meets with power purchase agreement. And the vision that we, as Arnaud mentioned, the vision was to create a platform, like a digital bridge between your energy generators who are producing the renewable energy, and seamlessly connecting them with the off-taker and energy market operators and regulators. A platform where transactions are not just recorded, but encrypted, and where trust is not just assumed, but mathematically verified. And that's where we harness the power of blockchain to redefine how power purchase agreement unfolds. So every megawatt hour produced, every megawatt hour that's supplied as per the contract to consumers, we encode it into an unalterable ledger. Transparency becomes our currency, and obviously the whole heap of efficiency that comes with it. But a product is only as impactful as its reach. So we ventured beyond the technology. We engaged with industry leaders, the generators, off-takers. We tapped into our global network of PPA SMEs to understand what is the pain point, what is the client's need here. And then we assemble a group of our own subject matter experts, engineers, scientists, blockchain architects, and together we crafted the architecture that you see in front to realize this PPA vision. Now, what you see here is the three key building block, or call it buckets, where we're capturing whole heap of data from external providers. We bring it to internal, to EY, applying our own IP, power price forecast. Thanks. Yep. 2 seconds. Is it visible? Yep. So you have then you overlay the data that is provided through our own energy modeling team that we've been serving clients globally. We built a whole heap of insights. All of that then gets used in the solution stack that you see in the center, and that interacts with our blockchain layer. Now, just to expand this a little bit further, the we this is the next level detail where we've prioritized user experience. We capture data from external sources. As you can see, we've given a lot of consideration to security, leveraging our suite of EY option products, contract manager, privacy. You will hear more about this in tomorrow's session. Without further ado, I just want to jump into demos. Give me 2 seconds. I will bring up. So as Arnaud was kind of talking about the structuring part, and I want to build on further for you to follow the demo. So when clients request for PPA contracts, EY helps them identifying what is the fit for purpose, commercially viable contract that meets their requirement, because some of these contracts are pretty lengthy in terms of number of years it covers. So this platform starts from the beginning, helping with the structuring part. And we've used this platform to support one of our clients based here in Australia, one of the largest brewery. And in that process, and I'm going to use the dummy data to showcase how the very first step in the PPA journey, what that looks like. So for example, I've selected the location, I've selected the consumption where it will be consumed. So let's assume that we're starting a PPA journey for 5 years, a contract setup until 2030. And then the input that I'm providing here, it varies and it is tailored to customers' need. And what you see, this is sourced from SMEs and talking to client. The platform is flexible to introduce more parameters as needed, but for now, I'm gonna go with what we are already using with clients. So pay as produced, benchmark data, we already have one loaded, but if you wanted to bring your own, you can introduce here. Changing volume, so let's assume the PPA contract here is fixed volume, but if you had a contract on need that required changing volume, then you can provide the volume curve, what that looks like to calculate the value of the contract. So in this example, I'm taking the fixed volumes. Let's say the capacity is 50,000 and the unit is megawatt hour per year. Technology, let's assume we've selected wind here. Price, you've got variations here again, fixed price index with CPI or custom. We're taking the example here, go custom index with CPI, and the discount factor, you can go with risk-free rate or custom. So let's take custom fixed and give 5% discount. And this is now you've taken the input from client, what their needs are in terms of volume, when they wanted to start the contract, how they want to apply the discount factor, and benchmark data. With the benchmark data, you also have option to go third party. So if you wanted to expand this assessment and use some third party power price curve providers, so for example, Baringa, you could bring their data and load it up here. This model picks up different sources and guaranteed origin here as well that can be included, and then carbon intensity of the grid. So in this, I've already loaded up the benchmark data and I'm going to do the calculation. So like I said, this is the very first step in the PPA journey. What you see here is the output based on the benchmark data and the customer need in terms of the volume and the price and the duration of the contract. This gives the range. What is the break-even price? What is the low scenario, medium, and high scenario? It also gives a view how much CO2 will be reduced as a result of this PPA contract. We also have an export button, so the whole calculation can get exported into Excel for further analysis. Now that is the step one. Once the client has decided what is fit for purpose and commercially viable PPA contract is, they get onto the contract negotiation stage where EY helps clients with the negotiation part. So let's assume all those activity happens and there is a signed contract. And once the contract is signed, the next step is we onboard those contracts here. So what you see here is very tailored and flexible mandatory input that we take from the contract, which is qualitative and quantitative, and this information then goes on our blockchain layer. So I've already loaded up a contract. I'm going to just walk you through some of the key data points, maximum generation, what is the fixed amount, any negative or contractual conditions, negative pricing or contractual conditions that included here, frequency of payment, what is the surplus threshold, what is the overall bias percentage from this generator. So these are the key details that we capture as part of the contract that's loaded up. And once the contract is onboarded on our OCM layer, which you will hear tomorrow, the next stage in this journey is we onboard our client. So we onboard our client, who the client is, whether they're a generator or off-taker, location. This is a global product. So at the moment, it is ready for any geography. So depending on where the consumption is happening, you can select that location, provide the key detail of who is the contact person from the client. And then once the client is onboarded, you onboard users, depending on the role they're performing on this contract, from finance function point of view or sustainability point of view, supporting audit engagement. Those are the roles already built in, and they will get to see only the role that they're authorized to see. So just summarizing here, we've taken you through the journey of structuring of the PPA contract, which is the procurement strategy, then signing of the contract, onboarding of the contract, onboarding client and the users. This is, we call it the stage where the contract is ready to get into the execution and settlement stage. And this is where the power of blockchain comes in to full swing. I will then move on to the client view. So this is when client logs in, that's their landing page. So I'm going to walk you through this dashboard. So this is designed for someone who is managing the performance of the contract. So the portfolio view combines all the contract this particular client would have, a consolidated view of overall performance. Starting from the top, you can filter based on date, year, quarter, or day. And then coming down, you would have toggle between your, just 2 seconds, must be the login piece. So you've got the toggle between your price and volume. As you move through, you can view the performance of all your contracts together, how much volume that's supplied on a daily basis versus what you were expecting. This is the cumulative view of overall status of your LGCs that's supplied versus what you were expecting, and that's your overall net position. And when you look at the pricing, you can compare the LGC price movement on a daily basis, and then the generators that you have contracted all your PPA contracts with. In this example, we've got 2. So the prices compare where the prices are fluctuating for each geography. On the right-hand side, this shows the cash flow and performance from a commercial point of view. So the first bit that you see is the floating PPA price. So cumulative, how the market price is fluctuating, and based on the volume that you have agreed on your contract, what is the total of all your contracts together? Then the fixed price based on the contract rate that you have negotiated and the volume that's supplied, what is the current state of all your contract together? This gives your CFD adjustment, difference between your fixed and floating. So what is the overall state of your portfolio of PPA contract? This is really providing a view on, if you didn't have this PPA contract and you went in the market to procure the same volume, this is how much it's going to cost you as of when we had this data. And this shows overall saving that you have as a result of this contract. Now, last two are really your green energy consumption certificates. The name differs from geography to geography. In Oceania, it's called LGC. So basically, it's the number of LGCs that you have signed in your PPA contract, what you have received, what is expected, is there a shortfall or surplus. So this gives you early enough warning sign, what is the trend? Because end of the year, when you're meeting your compliance obligations of whatever commitments you have made, this gives you early enough time to either go in the market, procure additional LGCs, or secure additional supply from the same generator. Last bit is during the execution of the contract. So if there is any condition or obligations that generator does not meet, so that compensation gets calculated and visible here. So some contracts would have shortfall scenario or the negative price compensation. And so this is the overall view of portfolio. But if you wanted to look at individual contract level, like what is the performance of my contract, then you can select individual contract and then compare the similar view to see how they're tracking in terms of overall LGC that I was expecting versus what they've supplied. What is the price movement for my contract, how the market is moving, what is my net position, and how is the LGC market moving for a given period. This gives you a snapshot view of the performance of the contract, the volume supplied, and how the market is moving, and your shortfall on a monthly basis. And whenever the negative price or compensation scenario happens over a period of time. Very similar to what I described earlier, but this is more tailored at an individual contract level. Moving to the contract where this is the reconciliation part, right? So what you saw earlier was the snapshot view of how is all my contract performing, and then individual performance. That gives you predicted cash flow, that gives you ability to manage your risk contract or any other targets that you have committed in terms of renewable energy consumption. The next part is more what you do with your daily invoices. So before I show this part, I just wanted to give more context. So energy market price, it changes every 5-minute block or 10-minute block, depending on which part of the globe you're operating in. And that changes are based on the volume that's supplied by the generator, and also what the price is set by the market operator. In a day, it could be thousands of records. For a finance person to go through the complexity of PPA contract, to extract out all the terms and conditions, what happens if you don't supply me the volume, what happens if the market price goes negative. There are many conditions like that. So complexity is massive. So for this person to go through thousands of records that get generated on a daily basis, 30 days, and then look at the price that's set in the contract, look at the volume and invoice that is generated by the generator. So reconciling that, calculating all the compensation accurately, also being able to foresee what are the risks associated with the performance. Do I need to continue with this contract? Do I need to, is there any risk in terms of supply of volume? All of that becomes very challenging. And this is where this platform plays a critical role in killing out all the admin burden. So this is one example where we have we've generated the volume, the invoice that has come through, and it has gone through our logic to show what is the state of this. So once the contract is passed, I'll give you another example here. This we tested earlier in the day. So when the contract is passed, this is the status you see. All of this gets reconciled. There's a transaction hash that gets created. And again, I'm coding. The team will take you through more in detail tomorrow, technical deep dive, but you could actually get that hash, go on Explorer. This shows that this transaction was posted 4 hours ago. So that it is connected. It is all the key input goes to our blockchain layer. And that's the layer that manages your ledger of CFD adjustment and all the core logic that we use for the dashboard that you saw earlier. And I'll take a pause here, and that's the main part that I wanted to showcase. And in terms of closing statement, innovation doesn't happen in isolation. So as we move forward, we would like to collaborate. So whether you're a generator, a market operator, or off-taker consuming renewable energy, we would like you to join us in the journey and participate in the pilots that we are working with a number of clients. With that final statement, let's power up together. Over to you, Claire.
Thank you, Akshat. That was so cool to see. I'm lucky enough and fortunate enough to have been on the inside seeing it develop over the last few months. And I know that this has been, I can share with everybody that what's super exciting about the product, and it's a beta product, let's just be very, very clear about it. Arnaud laid it out earlier, is that it is a beta product, but it is a beta product that we've been testing with a real live client and have seen the results coming out of it. And this is why, as a team, we're super excited to be able to share it with you. Now, I've got a whole bunch of questions coming in, Akshat, so I don't think you're going to get off quite as lightly as closing statements, I'm afraid. But before we jump in, so I wanted to clarify for everybody, it is a beta product, super exciting. It is using at the back end this concept of smart contracts under privacy on the public blockchain for all of the good reasons that we talked about yesterday. We're going to explain a little bit more about that, and there'll be a technical walkthrough of how that's working for all you sort of blockchain enthusiasts and developers out there that really want to understand. We're going to go through that tomorrow in tomorrow's session. But I have one to kick you off here, Akshat, is what you've just walked us through is very much the offsetter's position, right? You're looking at a portfolio as an offsetter. You're looking at your portfolio of contracts and you're seeing the performance. And what's exciting is because you can go into each individual contract, you're able to make some decisions for your portfolio as a whole, right? So I have a couple of questions for you. This is the beta product. The generator version of, I'm assuming the generator version of might look a little bit different. Is that coming later this year, do you think? Or when do you think that's going to be coming?
So it's very soon, as Arnaud said, in a month or so. So that view, it really offers the revenue side of contracts. Because from off-taker, you see they're looking at cash flow. They're looking at what would I get in my next invoice? Am I at the risk of not receiving the volume that I'm after? So from a generator point of view, they would have large number of assets generating renewable energy, and they would have contracts. They would want to know how much money could I get for the volume that I have, and this is where in our product suite, we have price forecast that gives you that ability to forecast your revenue based on, again, market leading insights the team has built. So that is more on how can you price for your volume appropriately, maximize your revenue, and all the risk associated from supply and other things that you commit on the contract.
So yes, it's coming, and yes, we're trying to work our way through the things that you need from your perspective, right? Another question coming in. There are different types of power purchasing agreements, i.e. physical, virtual, etc. Is the solution, the way that you're designing it, is it intended to be contract type agnostic? Is the intent that it can be used for any type of power purchasing agreement?
So the platform is intended, the vision is to support all type of PPA contract. And those who are into the weeds of PPA contract understand the massive beast it is. So we started with virtual PPA contract. Our next iteration, and thanks to Arnaud, he has given his blessing to focus on the physical PPA and other features that will come as part of this. Yeah. So to answer your question, we prioritize virtual PPA. The next in the line is physical, and then other types will come as we progress.
Come later. Okay, makes perfect sense. It says, how is the traceability of energy production ensured? So when you
those yes. So the traceability of production. So how this works is every generator, they would generate volume, and then they post it on energy market regulators. So almost like a share market where you post your stock, and then based on the market movement, demand and supply, the prices get adjusted. So the volume that goes between the market operator, so generator, market operator to off-taker, that's where the volume is traced. When it's on the grid, it is traceable. There is an onboarding process where generator provides their detail in terms of who they are, how much they're supplying, and the assets they have, and that the information gets posted, and that's where we get it from. So the data that comes in our platform is coming from a trusted source.
Next question. This is you've generated a lot of questions, so you have to bear with me a little bit here. Sure. I think. Does the green electricity buyer have a way to very precisely associate green energy consumption with a particular product or batch of products, i.e. via tokenization? I think somebody's thinking through a use case here. So would they be able to match it within their own portfolio of products or their own business?
That's again, this is a part of our physical PPA where we track flow of electricity, and that's the part. So where we are at the moment is we're tracing the incoming flow. It's the physical PPA that's coming as our next iteration, where we will be able to trace. Now, that question is very interesting. For us to be able to provide you which product or service that a renewable is going, that requires infrastructure on the consumer side. That can be reported within the platform, but that information requires upload from their end, and we would have our vetting process. So blockchain will provide you what's given to us, but we need to build trust in where it's coming from.
Okay. Okay, totally different question now. Mm-hmm. Exactly what sort of risks? So this is to do with the sort of what are the risks that we're managing with the platform? So is it credit risk? Is it operational risk? Is it a financial risk? Is it sort of what risks is it that we're intending to manage?
So the risk is starting from the financial side. So the risk from a client, so off-taker, when they sign the PPA contract, based on the market volatility, they could get a bill shock. So they're not prepared. They could get an invoice that they're not expecting. So there's that cash flow risk, and that would have like negative impact on overall business.
Yeah.
Then there is a supply risk. So the volume that gets supplied, it may not meet the contractual obligations that was agreed. So there is default risk of the contract, which would result in large compensation. Then there is overall risk of making a commitment that I'm going to be consuming X megawatt hour of renewable energy. And then when it comes to reporting season, everyone knows the whole sustainability and mandatory reporting that's coming into effect very soon. There is a risk that you would not be able to meet your obligation to report on the green energy that you promised that you will consume, and you haven't, and then the flow-on effect will be on the financial side.
So I interpret the answer then as a little bit of yes, all of the above, and it depends a little bit on where you are, and it depends a little bit on what's going on in your business at any one point in time. But I'm also thinking, when I hear that answer, is that's one of the key benefits of being able to see that dashboard view over a period of time, right? Because depending on what your risk is, depending on what your situation is at that point in time, then your viewpoint of the history that's relevant is going to be important, right? So having some flexibility in that dashboard view becomes really important.
Correct.
So yes, yes, and yes is the answer to that. Margin of error. What is the margin of error and the level of significance in the benchmark data? So when you're looking at do you have that off the top of your head, or?
No, I'll have to come back, and that's why we provide range from low, medium, high, to cater to normalize the margin of error. But the benchmark data that we have used, but the platform is flexible for you to bring your own benchmark data if you preferred to use other combination or input parameters.
Yeah. And I think that's an interesting point, because at the beginning you had the slide, and I can remind people of the slide at the beginning, because that's that yellow tower of data, right? You can basically pull in the data. So if there's benchmark data that they're using today, then you would be able to just incorporate that as part of the working model. But they can enrich it because they can share it with other data, I guess.
Absolutely. So the platform is flexible, so we're not prescribing what data to use.
Yeah.
We're giving you the methodology and the logic behind. You can bring your own information and use it with the platforms. There you go. It's here.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, nice. And so one more question on it is that, does this product need the involvement of the market operators? So do you need the market operators involved in the solution, and if so, in what capacity, I guess, is the question.
So in our solution, we're not dependent. So the definition of involvement, we don't need a formal agreement or engagement with the market operator. By the setup, every generator goes through the market operator, or some countries, the data is shared through different parties. So the platform is designed to source it from a trusted source like market operator or government entity, where there is absence of that setup. We do have flexible arrangements to source similar information. There is a level of due diligence that needs to happen.
Yeah, and I'm curious because it feels like the solution's doing quite a lot. Right, you're bringing to the forefront a lot of information to fingertips, which how is it done today? Is this a long manual process? Are you reducing the time it takes to get this? How do people do it today? Did you get any feedback on that from the work that you've done so far? Because
yes, in terms of it's labor intensive, and one of the clients we're working with, they had number of restructures. And the restructure was mainly because the resources, they're high in demand. When they leave, the knowledge goes.
Yeah.
Then the person who knew about the intricacies of managing PPA contract, they're not there anymore. So then you risk investing and bringing someone else in, and by the time they understand, they're gone. And what platform does is it captures the tacit knowledge of SMEs. So you're paying for the knowledge, and you're avoiding the risk of your resource leaving and then knowledge going out the door when they leave.
Yeah.
So from a BAU point of view, that's another risk. Whoever asked that earlier question ties up that, from a business function point of view, you retain that knowledge.
Yeah. These are
time consuming.
I mean, it's fair to say these are complex calculations, right? And complex
Absolutely.
calculations can have errors, especially if you're doing handovers between lots of people. So I think it's an incredibly important point for people to realize, is that having this running and organizing and keeping you accountable on a day-by-day basis, you're going to have more accurate, more up-to-date information a lot more frequently, because the producing of reports takes time, I think, if you don't have it at your fingertips. And presumably as well, that means that the more contracts you're managing, then it's exponential, right? It's going to keep increasing that complexity.
Absolutely. And if you're a business that has operations in multiple countries, then the localized rules and regulations, it changes. And one country you've got different rules and regulations, another country you've got different rules and regulations. So this platform is built for global clients, and that's where that layer of complexity is taken out.
Yeah. Okay, so we're almost at time actually, Akshat, but there's a couple of sort of more, I think, let's say, some practicalities that I think people would like to know and understand. So if someone that's watching now is like, yes, I really need this, I need something like this, how do they get started using the solution? Is there some work that they need to do in-house? Is it a process? Tell me, how hard is it to get up and running with a solution like this? How long will it take them, and what do they need to be thinking about having in-house?
If they're looking to use this platform, then there's an onboarding process. We can get started tomorrow. What we're offering at the moment, given it's fairly new and it's in beta stage, to run a pilot for a period of time. So almost like you try before buy, because we're confident in what we've built is a good quality product. So test it. We would like to hear your experience, and after that, we're offering heavy discount on early pilots.
Yeah. So we want to partner. We want to make it robust. We want to make sure it's working. So reach out, and if someone is interested, and then I'll certainly say you can certainly reach out to me. You have my details, but I guess, can they reach out to you, Akshat? You would
Absolutely.
be the person to reach
myself,
out to, right?
Yes, and then we've got Andrea, Julia, we've got a team. So, but happy for them to reach out to me.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Okay, I think that I'm just going to do. I think we're almost here. There's one last question before you go, and I have to apologize because I missed it, and I don't want to miss anyone's question. But what other clients do you think this will be useful for? Actually, I feel like that question was almost covered with Arnaud's chart a little bit earlier. But this is really
correct.
Almost any clients that are buying renewables. Is it as simple as that, or?
Absolutely, and what comes with it, which is intangible benefit. So it applies to everybody. If you're running a business, you would be consuming electricity, and if you're a listed client, you would be responsible for reporting under Scope 2 emission, so your whole greenhouse gas. So this impacts everybody. Now, generator, they get to run from revenue-making product, which gives them good insights and does the invoice reconciliation in a manner that I demoed earlier. But yeah, it's kind of applicable to both sides, as Anna had like different sectors. It all kind of comes under this.
Wonderful. Okay. Well, I've got to say thank you to both of you. I mean, I'm super excited about it. I think it's such a great product, and there's been so much thought gone into it, and yet it has a very nice elegance about it. And I know you want to take it further and you want the collaboration. So everybody that's watching today, if you want to collaborate on this and you want to be able to see it and work with us, then do reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you. Congratulations, guys. I think it's super exciting. And thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. Everyone in the audience, I think we are coming up to a break. We're going to take a break. We're going to be back at 1:15. So do sign in to the next session. We look forward to seeing you then. We're going to restart at 3. If you log on like 3:15, I'm getting told 3:17, but don't be that precise. Make sure you're ready on time, guys. Enjoy the break.
Thank you.